Thank you, Chairman, for the introduction, and I am very aware of how close we are to lunch, so I will be short in my presentation to you today. But first, I'd like to thank the organisers and the partners of 2015 Astana Mining and Metallurgy Conference for putting this on. It's a very good opportunity for me to share some of the experience that we have from Australia, particularly in Kazakhstan, and some of the areas where I think we can help companies here going forward into the future. Australia has a long history, of course, in mining, and we are one of the largest producers of a number of the main commodities available in the mining sector. And it's had a very important effect on Australia's GDP. So we're very conscious from an Australian perspective of how important mining might be for Kazakhstan going forward, and very much looking forward to assisting companies here and the government to progress the mining industry. Australia's mining history has gone back for very many years, 200 years in fact, and has covered almost every territory in Australia. We had a very large investment in our mining industry going back to the 1850s, and at one stage Australia was the richest country in the world and Melbourne was the richest city in the world back in the 1850s. What that experience has given us though is that going forward we have very deep understanding of the requirements of putting together a range of different supporting mechanisms in the industry. You've heard from a lot of the speakers today about the subsoil mining legislation, and of course that's something that we're very proud to share with Kazakhstan and share with the companies here, because it makes it easy for companies to do business and easy for the Australian expertise that we have to be implemented here in Kazakhstan. You've heard also a little bit about the current situation in the mining industry, and that has had a big impact on Australia, of course. The overall investment in Australia has been in decline for the last few years, but what's it meant for Australia and for the rest of the world is that we've now got a very strong focus on reducing costs and maximising production to allow companies to maximise their profits. Australia's expertise is well recognised across the world, and our mining, equipment, technology and services companies are some of the leading innovators in the world, spread across all states of Australia, of course, but also, more relevantly, we've got very extensive experience internationally. That experience in many different environments and very many different countries allows Australia to put together solutions that will suit almost every application. One other area that we've been very conscious of in Australia, and it's been mentioned by some of the speakers today, is looking at the industry capability. And Australia has put a large investment into ensuring that our training and expertise has been put through from drilling, geological surveying, through to almost every single application in the mining industry. And our research organisations and our university structures have allowed us to come up with some very innovative solutions to problems, and you're experiencing some of those here already in Kazakhstan. But in particular, our focus on putting research dollars into those cost minimisations has allowed us to really make a difference in some of those lesser and marginal mines that can now operate using Australian technology. Just an example here of some of the high-tech technology that we have developed in Australia. As I said at the beginning, it's all about production maximisation and increasing yields. With some of the technology that we have from Australia, we have allowed for concentration to happen on site, so that instead of having to incur costs of moving product to other centres for further refinement, we can now do that in mines and on site in underground applications. And this particular example has allowed increases of up to 30% for refinement of minerals on site, rather than having to spend costs to get that the same return. Many of the companies here will be aware of Australia's technology in the mining software sector, and we have a very extensive range of companies operating in that space. About 60% of all world software uses Australian technology. So many of the applications that you've heard of today utilise Australian technology, and there are a number of Australian major software companies already present in the market. So putting those technology together with a range of other supporting mechanisms is very important for the sustainability, and that of course has been mentioned this morning too. So Australia's focus on safety standards is also very important for the ongoing efficiency of mines across the world, and making sure that we support miners and their safety is a crucial component of the Australian government's focus on improving safety. There are a number of companies already present here in Kazakhstan that are assisting companies with some of these services, and the ability for us to add value to the operations, the safety of staff is a crucial component in ensuring that we can go forward and have the right people doing the right job to allow you to make the profits that you need to make. Sustainability is something that comes into almost everything that we do in the mining sector, and ensuring that we have an understanding of that whole process is crucial to the effective operations of most mining companies. We know that the development that we've put into the sustainable mining capacity in Australia is very relevant to our operations in Australia, and I'm extremely confident that the things that we've done, particularly around the efficiency and ongoing operations of mines, will have many applications here in Kazakhstan. One of the important components, of course, to sustainable mining is the training and expertise situation, and we've heard about skills and the improvement of people in the mining operations here. Australia has worked very closely with both industry and our educational providers in Australia to put together systems and appropriate training to allow people to be delivering as soon as they start working in a mining operation. And the Mining Education Centre that we have set up in Australia actually brings together 4 of the main universities in Australia, and they deliver about 85% of all mine training in Australia. We're already doing some of that mine training here in Kazakhstan, and we will have a major project next year of bringing in an operator from Western Australia who will be looking at the curriculum that is in place here to assist the people in the mining industry to get the right people at the right time. And that operation will be an ongoing program for the next 2 years here, with support from some of the major universities in Australia. The other area of major importance from the Australian government has been our focus on mining research and development. We work very much in collaboration with industry and our major research organisations in Australia, particularly entities such as the Commonwealth Scientific Industrial Research Organisation, to come up with new technology, look at innovation, working together with industry to actually do the things that they need to do to increase their productivity and bring in new technology very quickly. The CRC in mining that was formed about 15 years ago in Australia has really focused on putting into practice the new inventions and the new ideas that are coming through. And last year we put about $4.2 billion into research and development in Australia, again very much in collaboration with industry, looking at what they need and ensuring that we can deliver that with the training and the new skills that are coming through. Let me just tell you a little bit about the Australian Trade Commission, who I work for. We focused very much on assisting companies to understand what we have available from Australia, and that's across the board, whether that's Australian companies that have the people, have the skills, have the products that can help you in your business, or with the education side, or with investment. And you'd be aware that there are a number of Australian companies present here in the market. Austrade and the Australian government has worked with most of those companies to offer them advice, assistance, and to also work with the Kazakh government to make sure that both parties are heading in the same direction. We work very closely with entities such as AustMine, which is the Australian Business Association for all mining companies, and we will be working with them to bring a group of people to Kazakhstan in September to further their business objectives here in the market. Talking specifically about Kazakhstan and the Australian companies that are here, as you'll see, there are a huge range of companies that are present in the market. Miners, software developers, engineering companies, and a lot of the support services that are required. These companies, and we've had Australian companies present in Kazakhstan for many decades, so it's a long history. Australian companies are here for the long term, and we've recognised the potential of the market here in Kazakhstan, We also think that Kazakhstan offers a huge opportunity going forward as long as we can bring the right expertise and the right companies to match up with the local partners here. Some of the cooperation that we have in place with Kazakhstan, joint ventures and of course the investment from companies is very important. But one of the big areas that we're focused on here has to be working with the government sector here to ensure that we're doing that transfer of technology into the local market. And Australia has been recognised by the Kazakh government, particularly in areas of assisting local companies to adopt new technology and put that in place in the Kazakh environment. That strong interest from Australian companies has been recognised also in the range of products that are available here in the market from Australia. There are technologies that are coming into this market that have been placed in here for the first time from Australian companies. And some of those things have been in the safety area and some of it has been in the training sector. But that focus on the marketplace here is crucial for us in our business objectives going forward. You heard this morning from Mr. Nurabayev about the subsoil mining technology and the putting in place of that supporting legislation. That for us is also a very important and respected area that we've been involved with the government here, because we see the opportunity for companies that have worked in Australia and other international companies that have worked in the Australian environment to bring their expertise here into Kazakhstan. And having a framework that suits everyone is very important for us to understand what can be done and what we need to do to go forward. I talked briefly before about the Australian mining mission that we have coming through Kazakhstan in September. My business plan is very much focused on what's happening in Kazakhstan in the mining sector, and I have put in a range of different activities going forward over the next 12 months where we will have the opportunity to interact with companies here, with the government, and bring new Australian entities to have a look at the market here. The first activity that we will have in next financial year will be in September, and we'll bring a group of Australian companies in, and we're hoping that we will get up to a dozen to participate in a mining show, and then we will go out and hold a number of meetings with individual companies in the marketplace here and hold a round table so that we can actually talk and have an open dialogue about where we see the future and where these companies might be able to joint venture or set up their own operations in Kazakhstan. And again, our message about Australian companies here is about how can we help companies in the marketplace to minimise their costs, maximise their production levels, and of course make profits. We're very conscious of ensuring that we do that rather than just coming in and selling a product. It's an ongoing partnership going forward. So, we are almost at that time for lunch. Austrade is your strategic partner from the Australian government in the marketplace. We can offer you advice, assistance, links to Australian companies, and very much we look forward to helping you expand operations in Kazakhstan and helping you to understand that Australia is here to help you increase your productivity and your profits here. Thank you. Lunchtime.